Thank you very much. Let me bring another perspective to this matter. We've lost nearly 550 million to what auditors or auditor general call payroll fraud alone. One criminal transaction. The attorney general is yet to look at the procurement that they've done over the same period. Can you imagine?
That's right.
Procurement. And National Service Authority procures a lot of things. So if they can inflate service numbers.
Mr. James says not a lot. I mean, but anyway.
No, but they do. I'll be shocked that he says they don't. They do a lot of procurement. It may not be huge figures, but they do a lot of procurement because of the numbers that they have. Now, if they can inflate staff numbers or service numbers to fleece us this way, can you imagine what they've done to the things that they procure, the overpricing and all? So in addition to auditing the numbers on the payroll and uncovering this, we should also audit the procurement they've done within the same period. And I tell you, we can add to the numbers that we've lost. But you see, it is systemic. Like Dr. Makuba is saying, the bank staffers are also part of the scheme. Indeed, we have national service personnel posted to banks. And I wouldn't blame FIC because you see, FIC, we need to find out from Kwejo whether the records will show that FIC flagged this and there were explanations. Because if they come out with plausible explanations, you let it go. If you flag the transfer of 8 million or 30 million, and they tell you, oh, yes, we agree, but it's for payment of the service, payment for the service people's allowance. You are minded to let it go. In any case, they've been crying that allowance delays. So you don't want to add to the bureaucracy. So we need to find out whether
that should not lead to the relegation of the various measures and layers to authenticate.
Exactly. Then let's look at the work of the internal auditors as well, of the National Service Authority. We've converted the scheme. Good. So we converted the scheme into an authority recently. I think a couple of years ago. So it's a full-fledged authority. Internal auditors, the external auditors. So I wouldn't blame FIC, but I'll blame the setup for this. And we should be happy that this is happening under this regime. 2, we made payments for other things. We made payments for other works, public works that were never done. So similarly, we took money for people who didn't do any national service because we created it. In the same way, we created contracts for people and paid them monies for what they never did. Motor Angels was paid $2.5 million for supposedly doing nothing on the motorway. Motorway is now being done by Maripoma. Skytrain, $2 million. It's in court, so I don't want to read, but I want to mention that the service, how we were fleeced by the National Service directors, it's not akin to the National Service Authority alone. National Cathedral, there's right now a galamsey site sitting in the heart of Accra. We lost $58 million for practically nothing, for actually destroying public property in the process. The Auditor General flagged a road contract that was awarded a company called Hallmark Civil Engineering, owned by Wuntumi and Doris Kwenu. $45 million. The Auditor General says that, well, monies have been paid. When they audited the road work, it's nothing to write home about. But the money is gone. We've done that. Tamale to Wale Wale, we paid $30 million for practically no work done. It came up recently in Parliament a couple of days ago. And the current road minister, my brother, Kwame Agoja, is now demanding that they pay the money or we go after them. $30 million is no money you put in your back pocket and walk about with it. That is huge sums of money. And yet we paid it. We paid nearly $12 million. In fact, according to the Auditor General, $11.9 million on some work that was supposed to have been done on the Pualugu multi-purpose dam project. $12 million. City is regaining strength, but as at that rate, is 15 cities. Multiply 12 by 15. And yet, nothing was done. And these are public officers. So this is how we put the public funds into private hands for practically nothing to show for it. And when you are investigated, they say it's political witch hunting. How can this be? PDS is there.
Yes.
We haven't touched it yet.
Ambulance.
Yes, ambulance procurement. Sputnik vaccine. So the kinds of things that have happened in this country, they are mind-boggling. Monies have gone down. Today we are struggling to accommodate in conditions of service, which like Dr. Mwakupan said, everything comes down to money. We are struggling to take care of nurses and their concerns. It's about money. Monies have simply been siphoned from the public system. So, my colleague Mustafa, I don't wish him this. Presumption of innocence until proven guilty is a constitutional jurisprudence in criminal prosecution. He should go to court and defend himself. I wish him all the best. But it should be a guide to all of us in public service that when you are given a mandate to exercise, you must be prudent, you must be cautious of the things, the documents that comes across your desk for you to sign. Sometimes you sit in your car and they bring you the document, you are in a hurry and you just sign. So, but like Martin said, we need the money. We are interested in certain ways. The fact that people can create companies and engage in these corrupt deals and think that there is no tomorrow is what shocks him. And yes, but like the evil mind, they are not thinking of tomorrow. They are thinking of the act. And there are so many similar acts that have been perpetrated on us. The monies have been siphoned. So, by all means, we want the money. I've done some couple of calculations. Look, if you add, for instance, the financial sector cleanup, 25 billion. In fact, they've even added 5 during the latter days of the regime. So we are looking at about 30 billion. When you ask them, I've asked the then finance minister so many times to come and explain to Parliament and the nation what were the incidents of the expenditure constituting the 25 billion later 30 billion Ghana cedis. We've all been told by his own statement that the consolidated value of the investment they had to save was about 9 billion. And yet you said we spent 25 billion, later 5 billion, 30 billion. Who were the consultants recruited to deal with this matter? How much did they charge us? How can you say you spent 25 billion, 30 billion to save the consolidated value of investments just around 9 billion? Inexplicable. And yet he refused to come and answer to that question until he left office.
Okay, I'll answer you a question.
Yes.
So why didn't you ask the president? What is his job?
But in Parliament, it's a valid question. But in Parliament, I'm yet to see a situation where you can actually invite the president to come and answer to questions. That's why the president appoints ministers to exercise those mandates. So perhaps maybe you are asking me to ask my current finance minister to come and explain that. But I don't know whether he can actually offer any explanation. Because the money, it was, look, Men's Gold. As we speak, Men's Gold has come to Parliament. They came during the last Parliament. They've still come back with a petition that their total investment, the figures I've seen, is about 766 million Ghana cedis, was not factored into the investment saved. And yet Men's Gold operated like a pseudo financial institution. We've been asking them. And the kind of people who've been affected by Men's Gold, you have no idea.
Yeah.
They even wanted me to be their lawyer as oh this one. But I can advocate for you in Parliament. It's such a huge investment that that also need to be recovered. And yet 25 billion is gone. And we are look, the 9 billion that have been identified and supposedly saved, they have not been paid in full. In fact, the payment, if it's properly quantified, it's not up to 50%. So government still owes in excess of 5 billion to those people. Yes. Look, the Japan royalty deal is there. So it's such a big thing that, for instance, when the World Bank gave us $45 million to deal with the Accra floods during the rainy seasons, under the Gary project, for construction of the Accra storm drains, the sector minister can actually come to Parliament and said she spent the $45 million in distilling the drains in Accra. That was her accountability. When Senator Eriko Poku asked the question that how much did we spend in dealing with the floods in Accra, and she came to explain, and the video exists. Distilling the drains in Accra cost us $45 million. Later, some of these dollars were found in her home. We are still struggling to even prosecute. So I agree that we need to recover the monies first of all and go and deal with the prosecution in terms of establishing guilt or otherwise. But the fruits of the crimes committed must be saved and returned to the state. This will be my preliminary comments on the matter. If I ever get the chance to come back, I will come back and speak to you. Look, for instance, the wound to me one. It was a 26.3 kilometer stretch of road from Dadiesu to Akontomra. If you check the value, the length of that road and the value of the contract, it means 1 kilometer was being constructed nearly at $2 million. It's never happened. $2 million at the time was 30 million Ghana cedis per kilometer of road. How?
When it's supposed to usually.
How? The Cocoa Board did this under the Cocoa Roads project. So there was inflation of contract. So it wasn't akin to national service staffers alone. We saw this was replicated in many state agencies.
The All African Games.
Thank you.
$50 million.
Thank you.
Dollars for food.
Thank you.
All African Games.
Thank you. So I agree that we should do this. The Bank of Ghana, for instance, could tell us that they've lost 60 billion Ghana cedis, and nobody has asked them how that came about. 60 billion. In one calendar year, one financial year, 60 billion. If they cutted the money out of the vote to the house and told us that it was lost, how would you know? No, we were told. And no investigation. But in Parliament, some of us are putting our hands together. There must be an inquiry into that. Dr. Siama won't sit on this. We'll ask him to look into it and to report to the nation, because Senator, you agree with me that 60 billion?
Absolutely.
That is GDP of some nations.
Well, you see, so there are a number of messages about the position that you took, and I'm sure you probably may have also received. In order to just put the matters in perspective, at what point should a non-prosecution agreement or plea bargain be an option as against prosecution to, as it were, serve as a deterrent? Because the position the AG takes in some of the persons who came before him as well, that look, your involvement is
no, it's simple. The law makes provision for those. So that is when you are willing to cooperate with prosecution and also testify against other suspects. Yes, that one.
Yes, but
and also you can also do so so that there will be mitigation.
Perfect.
In the penal measures, not that like doctor said, not that you get off the hook completely, but there will be mitigation, allocutus, plea of allocutus. That is, if you are supposed to get allocutus, that is if you are to get the maximum you could be granted the minimum, you could be convicted to the minimum.
Yes.
But the law will not be breached.
Yes.
And whether to grant you the minimum conviction, when you are convicted, whether to sentence you to the minimum or to maximum, is left to the judge.
Yes.
Your conduct and all will come into play.
Yes.
So that's for those ones. So if the prosecution, your conduct is such that they can agree to a plea that yes, you are convicted on your own plea, but the sentencing must have regard to the information you are provided in assisting prosecution to go after other suspects who were in the prelim, whose activities and role in uncovering the crime didn't come to the attention of prosecution, but through your information they have been uncovered. Perhaps they even played a greater role. Then prosecution will be willing to agree that it should be sentenced to the minimum.
So,